Get it? Morning, everybody. This is John Johnson reporting live from Miami. Getting my mic set up here. Let me know if it sounds good in the side chat. Hopefully, we got Bob in the building. We got AB, my man. What you doing in the audience? Adam, Savion, Prolific Kev, Wyatt Norton. How are you all doing today? Engine 7209.
What's going on, John?
Mr. Dorner, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you're doing well.
How's Miami? First impression.
I've been here before. Coming back, uh, it's nice to speak Spanish. With the locals here.
It's fun.
Yep, yep. Um, I like to talk. To people in the airport, if you know what I mean.
No, I'm the same way.
Yeah. Mr. Savion Williams,
Yo,
how are you doing today, sir?
shitty as fuck. Worst way to wake up.
I
My
just
OKC deal is also falling through. All of my direct sale leads are falling through for some reason. I'm not sure why.
What's going on with the OKC deal?
Tenants, the guy called me back this week. He wasn't answering for like a week, and then he answers to yesterday, and it seemed like he was just like, because his phone was off. Like he didn't block me. His phone was off. I had my called him off my mom's phone. Everything was great, but yeah, he's when he answered this week, he just seemed like a different guy. Like something's happened that past week. He must have went through something, and now he's a little bit more, not as cranky. So now he wants to close on the 20th, and I'm like, look, man, like there's no way we're closing on the 20th. I mean, the tenant hasn't let us in the house. It's just not gonna work. So I don't know if he's willing to give us another extension to the 10th, or not another one, but give us an extension to the 10th of
Hmm.
October. But he's saying that he needs to have it closed by the 20th. So I don't see that happening. But you know what? We're going to get some more deals, though. So it is what it is. I mean,
It's a part of the game, man. Um,
I just don't know how, I don't know how people deal with direct to seller and these tenants, man. They're not cooperative. How do you actually get around that?
that's a great question. Um, I've only done one deal with tenants. That was my first deal, and they were very reluctant. They did not even want to do cash for keys, and it got to the point where you had to evict them. So the
Oh, so the seller, he evicted them?
it was the buyer that bought the property and then evicted the tenants.
But did he get in and look at the property before he bought it?
Yeah, yeah.
So he was
So
one of your first guys that went into the property.
yeah, it was me who actually got a chance to get into the property, and then I took the photos, and they looked at the photos, and we got it appraised, and it appraised for 100K more than what I had in our contract for. So on paper, it made sense. It was just the headache of dealing with those tenants. But with you, it seems like it's a little bit of a different situation because you can't even get in the property. You don't even know what condition it's really in, right?
Well, we know what condition is in. I've had a guy go out and get photos, but he's like, I'm like, hey man, that was just our photos guy. I said, hey man, we got to get in there, at least one last. No, I can get for it, but yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. If it don't work, it don't work. I'm not. Yeah, it'll be all right.
Oh yeah, man, you always do. You always figure it out. Adam, what's going on in the Titan acquisitions world, man? What type of deals you guys got going on?
We got a few in the pipeline. We're breaking bread with a couple of members of this awesome community. Supreme John, I see out there. I don't know where Bob is, but um, we're doing well. We got a messy one going on in Philly right now. Um, but yeah, everything's good on our end.
Hey, That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that you've been able to break some bread with people in the community, and you've got a couple more deals on the board with people in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for anyone in here, I mean, if you need a buyer, if you have buyers, just, let that be known. There's awesome people in here that will help you do deals. It's very simple.
So, what are the deals looking like with people in terms of the JV? How is that working? What are you bringing to the deal? What are they bringing to the deal? How are you both getting paid?
Well, you either bring a deal or you bring a buyer. It's typically how it goes. So, in these particular cases, we have the contracts, but um, you know, you can do it either way. I mean, if you have solid buyers who know what they're doing and are vetted, you can bring value that way and bringing that to someone else. Um, or if you're very good at acquisitions, you can, bring quality deals to people who have that buyers list and provide value in that way.
Boom.
No, no Bob, no Dan this morning. What's going on here?
No Bob, no Dan. I guess I don't know what's up with Bob. Hopefully all is well. Bob, Dan, he's a busy man. This guy is on a sales call right now in another room. I'm actually in Dan's B&B right now. I'm in Miami, and yeah, I'm just chilling in this room and hosting the show. But I'd love to open it up. If there's anybody in the audience that's got a deal that they're working on right now, whether it's something complicated or something that's going pretty smooth, come talk to us about what you're doing in the business. We got Sebastian raising their hand to come up. We love hearing from Sebastian. He had an
Hey,
appointment
how
this
you guys
morning.
doing, guys?
How's it going, Sebastian?
Good
Oh,
morning.
good. How are you guys? So I've got a follow-up from yesterday, or maybe it was 2 days ago that we talked. Or I came on here, and I've got this. Well, it was a potential lead from a code violation around here in Kansas City, and I went and looked at the property yesterday, and it was in like really bad shape. Like, I feel like like a full gut wouldn't even be worth it. Like it'd probably be like just a tear down. So I don't know if there's a way to structure the deal because she still has $45,000 on the mortgage, and so I was wondering if is it even possible to like do a sub two, but then sell it to like a developer? Because like with the loan in place, obviously the house is collateral, but if the house gets torn down, like would the sub two still stand? Like is there even a way to structure this deal, or is it kind of just nothing?
Um,
John's a land guy. I would defer to him on that one.
it depends. It depends. What do they want to do with the land in terms of development?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, this is just like I don't even have like a buyer specifically for this yet. Um, I'm
So
just
this,
trying to figure out like is there a way I could even structure something, or should I just leave it?
listen, everything's possible, but you got to ask yourself, is it worth your time? So if in this case, this property is it condemned, it needs to be demolished, or you think that somebody would just want to demolish it and build something new?
I think it would probably somebody would want to. I don't think it's condemned. It's just there's squatters in there right now,
Mystery.
and the squatters were nice. I talked to them and they were like cool with moving out. So
Okay, so they're cool squatters, but squatters nonetheless.
yeah,
Um, and there's a mortgage on this property, and they're just squatting on the
right.
property.
Yeah, because it was like this it's this older couple that let this other older lady live in there for free because she was having some health issues, and then the older lady ended up going to a nursing home or something, and now the daughter and her boyfriend are basically living in there, but they're not, paying any rent or anything.
That's crazy.
But yeah, but they're on like good terms with the people, the with like the homeowners. The homeowners are just like stupidly nice. Like
So there's
yeah.
people living in there, but you're saying it's a tear down?
Yeah, like I think so. I mean, I don't know if there's a way I could like drop some pictures just to get an idea. Like maybe I'm thinking it's worse than it really is, but like it's bad.
I'd
Or at
say as
least
long as there's no like significant structural issues, like it could probably be salvaged.
like there's like it's like probably like mold and like stuff leaking through the ceilings and
Well, that's no big deal.
okay. Okay, so it'd probably be it might be closer to a full gut. Could I drop a picture in the chat? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
All right, let me see. I'm on my computer.
We got Mr. Andrew Flipwell. We got Dan Fazio joining us this morning. We got Mr. Matt Riley in the audience.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Everybody's sleeping in today. It's Friday. I guess they're just kind of catching up on their beauty sleep. You know, I just took like a 12-hour flight. I'm still here.
Fine, it's fine. It's financial Friday. Come on.
Right?
Ooh, look at that! Look at that! Look at that gear shift! Look at that gear shift! Look at that!
There
Look
we
at
go,
that!
That's
Look
a
at that!
Beamer boy.
Ooh. You know when they got carbon fiber? You know when they got carbon fiber on the gear shift? That's when you know something's up. Something's up. Cafecito with closers, PDRE.
All right, I just dropped a bunch of pictures in the chat. Yeah, I thought Matt got that glass shifter.
Oh yeah, that thing's fucked.
See that?
How are they living in there?
Yeah, I like, dude, and they had like 15 dogs like running around. Like it was really bad.
What?
All right, that's a teardown for sure.
That's what I was thinking. Like, well, what with the where the roof is missing, it was the garage. So that's not the house at least. But like I think the last 3 pictures, yeah, is the house itself. Like the inside.
Oh, yeah, that thing's tear down for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So then I was wondering, like, if it is a teardown, yeah, like I said, like, is there still a way to take it down sub 2, and then just give it to a developer for land value? Like, I just don't know.
How much is the loan?
How much is left on it is $45,000, and it's like a $578 payment.
And what's the land value? Do you know in that area?
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I can look up like the land assessed value, I think.
And then what is the ARV? What are new houses or new builds going for?
It'd be like 100. Like it's not a nice area.
I would skip. Personally, I would skip. That's just me.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking, but yeah, I just wanted to get some opinion on it.
Sometimes the best deals are the ones you walk away from.
I didn't want to walk away.
Hey, but
I want that first deal.
that's the thing is, you know, you only have real leverage in a negotiation when you can walk away. When
Right.
you're ready to walk away. I think I may have heard that. Somebody here hosts a podcast. I think I heard him say that on a podcast.
What was this? What are we talking about?
As some guy in here, he's got this podcast, and he was talking about something on the podcast. He's like, yeah, well, you only have real power in the negotiation when you can actually walk away.
Very true.
Yeah.
Wise man.
Yeah.
Sounds
I'm charming my way to
sounds
success.
like a wise man.
We got Mr. Matt Riley and Andrew in the building joining us today, ladies and gentlemen. These two, and of course Mr. Fazio, all three absolute studs in the industry. We are blessed to be in proximity with you all today.
Oh, it's been a good week, John. It's been a really good week.
Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it. What's going on in your world?
Well, we're getting the teams together. I'm hiring. My brother's coming in officially on October 15th, and he's a killer in sales himself. And I hired 2 other sales guys this week. But we locked up 9 wholesale contracts this week, which is definitely our biggest week yet. We closed out 2 that we had in our pipeline for a grand total of like 63 grand. So they're both pretty good wholesales there. But we're cruising. Those 9 wholesales, they're like, what is it? It's about $145,000 worth of wholesale assignments. So they're not huge wholesales, but they're pretty decent ones. And it just feels It feels good, man, because it's like 6 months ago when I really started to get active in this Discord, property flipping, construction, those types of things. A lot of developments have occurred, and a lot of that's from some inspiration that's come from this group for sure. And just feels good to be doing some wholesales. There's a ton of money out there, and that's what made, this group helped make me realize that. A few key contributors in this group helped me realize that, and building out our team right now around wholesales is really it's really working out well. So if it's good, it's extra revenue, and it's allowing us to really drive that extra revenue back into our business to just further support, our growth and scale in other areas. Like we just bought a skid steer with some attachments for it to start doing some of our land development and stuff of that nature. And we bought it used. I think it was a 2021. I think it was right around 90K. But it's like cool because, that expense is definitely something that's, not a bad expense for our business, but with these wholesales and how I can kind of funnel everything back up to the holding companies, those wholesales really give us a good advantage to be able to reallocate those funds where we were already going to spend the funds on the skid steer. But now it feels good to know, hey, we've made enough in wholesales just in the last month and a half, to cover that skid steer for our construction growth and our flipping growth. And that feels really good.
That is incredible.
Godzilla has arrived.
You're doing
this-
direct to mail, right?
Yeah, it's all direct mail. We're not doing any cold calling, no SMS, not yet at least. It's all direct mail.
Wow.
I knew this day was coming.
Matt, you opened the door, brother.
I knew that I opened a window and Andrew kicked the door open. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Well, it's funny, it's like when we were talking, just 6 months ago, and as all this kind of started to develop, I knew I had all this great data in front of me, and we were still really starting to work through that data and understand that data in our model and how it all kind of came into play. But as you kind of start to go back through the existing data you have and the people that we have spoken to, which is hundreds and hundreds of people, I was so focused on just flipping that we were missing so much revenue just by focusing on just flip deals. So it's really been powerful for our business to just be able to, I don't know how much we've thrown. I think this quarter we'll do right around probably 250 to 300K in wholesale assignments this quarter, which is huge because in Q2 of last year, Q2 of this year, we didn't do a single wholesale. So it just goes to show the power of sometimes, you can build things in reverse, which is that we didn't have this intent of becoming a wholesale company even 6 to 9 months ago. However, when you go back in and you look at what's there, sometimes you can find multiple, options or utilities to use that data for. And it turns out wholesale is a pretty damn good one of them. So to already kind of be on track here to, we think we'll do about $600,000 to $800,000 by the end of this year in wholesale assignment fees, just based on how everything is lining up, which is a good feeling because that means next year, we could certainly, we could do $2 million, $3 million next year in wholesale assignments. Granted, it takes the work in the process, but we've got the people, we have the technology, we know how to market very well. So with all those kind of things already established, that's what I mean by building it in reverse. We already had those things really well established. So that's why we're finding success quickly with wholesale, is because our people are already trained to understand the disposition of a deal in general. So we're just now looking at deals and, what we're doing a lot is we're weighing in the time element of things as well. So is it better to take 20 grand off the table by assigning this deal now, or is it better to hold it for 3 months, flip it, and take 60 grand off the table? So it's allowing us to really restructure even how we look at our flip deals and just further optimize those and go, okay, well, look, we're not going to touch a flip unless it's a 6-figure flip, because why would we? If I can turn around and just flip a lead over in 15, 30 days for $10,000 to $30,000, sometimes, better.
No risk, no money out of pocket.
So instead of getting shiny object syndrome, like a lot of people suffer from, especially new individuals entering the community in real estate, you looked at the systems and the data that you already had access to and just figured out a different strategy and a different disposition for what you already had in front of you.
That's exactly right. And it just further allows us, and this is a point that, Matt and Bob I'm in particular really opened my eyes up to a few months ago, which is, you can then take that money. You have all this data, you already have it working out, you have wholesale deals there, you're just not seeing them as wholesale deals yet. But if you convert just a few of them, it's really going to help your bottom line. And of course, from a business sense, I'm always looking for things to help our bottom line and improve our efficiencies. But when you're running an operation and growing an operation like I'm trying to right now with my partner, it can be challenging to be everywhere at one time, right? So we did not get shiny object syndrome. Instead, we took a really practical approach to it, heeding some feedback from people who are doing it, who are in the industry, such as, you and Bob and John and Dan and whoever's doing it, and taking that all in and finding a really good purpose for the data that we have to at least utilize it, because we have all this great stuff in our system. But if it's just sitting there because we didn't want to do a flip or we didn't want to tear it down to do a build, then it really was a waste of opportunity, not a waste of money, but just a waste of opportunity. So we're realizing that opportunity, and it's really panning out really well for us.
I mean, you're almost like, it's like you turn your business into like triple
dude
net
spent
lease.
all this money on this house. Dude
You
spent
are
all this money on
now-
this house. He couldn't get good Wi-Fi. God dang.
What? I'm out in the Tennessee woods, all
Beamer,
right?
got that Beamer pulled up. Got a house in Justin Timberlake's neighborhood. Didn't even come with Xfinity. God dang.
I'm going 90 on a Tennessee back road right now, all right?
I love
I'm
it.
joking. Oh,
But you were breaking up there, Matt. What
Can
were you
you,
saying?
I was just saying, like, speaking like from a real estate standpoint, like, it's like you're turning your business into like a triple net lease. Like, you are eliminating the expenses or at least a large portion of them by reconverting leads that you weren't necessarily, or you were doing it a different way, and you're using them now in a way to limit your expenses or to
Well,
Did we lose him?
we lost Mr. Matt Riley there.
I get the point that he was definitely making, and I agree with that. That's effectively what we're trying to do. And yeah, man, it's just been a great week because it's all really starting to come together. We're starting to see the purpose behind really what we're doing in wholesale, building out the technology to kind of suit that wholesale function a little bit better, to really give our people an opportunity to view each type of deal. So for instance, we have one input screen where when one of our employees is talking to a prospective homeowner that we sent a lead to, so we have a lead center in a database that each mailer that we send out has a direct notice number attached to that mailer. So when somebody calls in, we say, "Thanks for calling. Would you please provide the notice number on the letter that you received?" And that notice number then gets typed into our search feature that pulls up that direct lead that was associated with that notice number. And then from there, we have one general kind of input screen where you type in the information as you're going through your application, et cetera. And then once that input is complete, we have right now, 4 different buttons at the bottom of that input where it says run flip evaluation, run rental evaluation, run wholesale evaluation, run new construction evaluation, or tear down evaluation. So once they input all that, they can click each particular type of calculation that they're looking for, and that in turn optimizes not only the deal itself, but the profitability of each deal. So we and our team knows, okay, so you see, if you flip it, you'll make 40. If you wholesale it, you can make 10. If you turn it into a rental, here's what your cash flows would be, your cash on cash, all of that stuff. If you want to build new construction on land, here's what it would look like, roughly. So it gives our employees a really good insight into what the most optimized solution is, not only for us, the company, but also for them to realize their commissions and their pay as well. So we've really built out this really neat little system to optimize deals and optimize efficiency from a deal input and output perspective. So yeah, I mean, it's really coming along well, and our so far employees are loving it. So it's working out.
Well, that's incredible, brother, man. You deserve all of the success that you have achieved and have yet to achieve. And I can't wait to see Matt's face when you implement some sort of creative finance angle into your business as well.
That's on the that's definitely on the agenda. I think with everything that we have going on, it's definitely been discussed to add in that creative finance element to things. So I think that's going to be a big Q1 2024 push from a technology basis, is just integrating that creative finance outputs, scenario, so we can have that one as well.
And I also want to make sure the power of actually doing things, like not just saying it, but actually doing it. Like Andrew is a great representative of that. Like he came in here 6 months ago, gathered up some intel and realized this new thing that he, had already been sitting on, but wasn't utilizing it, and how quickly you put this system in place. I mean, I know a lot of your CRM and your internal services and systems were already kind of put together, but the way that you've utilized this just in such a short amount of time and the revenue that's already been able to get cranked out of that system is absolutely incredible. And not just sitting around and talking about it and go, oh man, it'd be great if we did this, and then talking about it over dinner with your brother and other team members, and then never actually doing it and pulling the trigger on it. I mean, the second that you got the idea, you put the wheels in motion and you're already seeing triple digit returns on it.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that, Matt. And I want everybody kind of in the audience to hear that, because it's not a pat necessarily on my back, but all of us are capable of kind of doing the same things respectively to our lives, our businesses, and our systems. So if you see an opportunity, the way I try to listen to myself is an experience, I think, plays a role in this, and particularly trust in yourself plays a big role in this. Is when I see a good thing or I hear a good thing, I really internalize that. And before I go out and try to get feedback from, say, my partner or my team internally, I really try to digest all that information and come up with a strategy to implement, because the quickest way to kind of slow down progress, in my opinion, is definitely to overshare your plans, your thoughts. And I'm sure there's a million quotes out there kind of about sharing before you accomplish, but it's more so in my world. That's what I'm here for in my business. I think understanding, just because you're the business owner, understand that you do have a respective role in your business, a role in which you can be most optimized for your business. So for me, it's definitely gathering intel, listening really well and hearing what other people are doing, digesting it, and before I talk about it, building out the actual approach to it. So when I do present it to my partner or my team and we gather feedback, I'm not asking how we should do this. I'm asking for insight into the plan that I've developed, if there's anything that may be able to be done better, more efficiently from their perspectives. But I don't go and ask my teams or my partner for permission. Rather, just focus on the concept, put what you've got into it. If you know it's a good idea, trust yourself, listen to yourself, figure it out, and then apply it. Because progress will move as quickly as you allow it to move, and it will move even more quickly if you truly participate in the actionable steps that are required to make that progress.
And Andrew and I haven't even started working together yet.
He's
already doing this. But no, I'm joking.
Yeah, Dan, can you take me to like 5 million a year?
Sure, we can go to 8 figures a year.
Ooh, baby, now we're talking.
We're really trying at the point where we're really trying to hit. I really would like to hit 8 figures in our telemedicine business, and we're pretty much there. So for us, so this is about to be my first on revenue paper 8-figure year for that.
That's awesome.
For that company. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean I tell people I could take anybody to wherever it is you want to go. We'd take you to 9 figures a year. You know what I mean? It's just, what are you willing to do? It's like, for me, I don't have the diligence or the focus to take any of my own companies to 9 figures a year, just because of what comes with having a business that does 9 figures a year.
Yes.
So I'd rather have multiple businesses that do multiple 8 figures a year than have one business doing 9 or 10 figures a year.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think,
'Cause
Dan, you and I are probably our brains, while they work differently, probably work similarly because I'm a very business driven person as well, as far as the foundational things go, the actionable items that need to occur and take place to get a business to where it needs to be. So I think that's where it kind of bodes well for both of us and why we need to hop on the phone, because I feel like where with some people's businesses, you're really laying out the framework, you're really laying out the step-by-step process that they need to follow to get to
right.
where they are. Where I feel like with us, we'll be more of a collaborative effort, which is, here's what I have. I don't necessarily need to be told here's the rubric to follow.
No, yeah,
However,
you guys would be more exciting to work
sure,
with. It's
sure.
the ceiling would be higher. The ceiling would be higher. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's possible. I had a phone call with a guy yesterday, and he said, he goes, what do I need to get my? He's like, what do we need to do to get to that, $1 billion evaluation? And that's my ultimate goal. And I was like, you have to first accept and be okay with understanding that what comes with that. Like, do you want to have an American Airlines type of business? I don't. I don't want that type of brand. I don't want that spotlight. I don't want all that attention. I don't want anything that comes with that. Having a business that does 10 figures a year, it's about to do 10 figures a year. I have seen the way that the pressure and the system and everything shifts and changes to me, just energy wise, in terms of getting to that. So, to take your business to a place where you're trying to go for $1 billion evaluation, in my opinion, I don't really think that it just for myself, it's not worth it. And I think what really comes along with it, because at that point you really have to develop a board, you have to develop all these things that come with it. And I would definitely, be more than willing to work with anybody trying to take their business to whatever heights they go, because I think that the way that my brain works, I can get any business to do any number of evaluation if they're willing to put in the focus and the work, to get it to that point. But it's not a goal for myself to take any of my companies past doing, past doing 8 figures a year. I'm good. 8 figures a year for me is good.
Yep.
10
And I
million,
think,
10 million, like a little over 10 million a year. Like, it's a lot. It
yeah,
changes the game.
it does. I think,
So
Dan, you brought up a really good point, which is it is exciting to think about growth. It's exciting to think about scale, but everybody understand that, like, as you go to these different levels, there becomes a totally different, you're dealing with a totally different business. When you go from 100 grand a year to 500 grand a year, not too big of a difference, but if you go from 100 grand a year to $5 million a year, you're dealing with a different kind of company. You're dealing with a different type of structure. You're going to need the people around you to really guide and push, whether it be your CPAs, your attorneys, your members, whoever it might be. You're going to need that. And then if you go from 5 to 25, you've got a different business. So understand that at every place of scale, there is, like, my partner and I talk about this often, how far do we want to push each of these divisions until it becomes something that it's not that we don't want to or couldn't. It's a matter of that we would rather not deal with what comes with that level of scale from a just overall basis of doing business, because things change at scale. They really change. You have more employees, more money going into systems and processes, attorneys. Like I said, it changes everything. So it's a really good point you made, Dan. Everybody, just when you go to that next phase of growth, before you jump, understand and truly digest how that changes your business and how that changes how you function within your business as well.
yeah, I'd rather have a portfolio that's valued over $1 billion, rather
Yep.
than having one company that reaches that mark. I'm like, I'm good.
Yep.
I don't need that. I don't need that spotlight. Like, I don't need that. Like, I don't need to be in Forbes. I don't want to be in Forbes.
Yep.
I don't want you to put me in a magazine. I don't want people to know how much money I have. I don't, like, people never know. Like, I had a conversation with a guy who, asked me, like, a couple weeks ago. He was like, "Well, how much money do you really think that you're like making right now? Like, not on paper, just like in terms of like how much money you think you have access to?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I don't want to know. I don't want to know." So I know in terms of like what all my companies are doing, and that's all I need to know. I know how much that I'm paid out personally in my personal account every single year. That's all I need to know. I don't need to try. I don't want to like to think about how much money do I have access to, how much, what can we do to leverage this or this to get more money, because money doesn't always equal continued success.
Yep.
You can pull out, you can go towards the wrong values sometimes by accident, and you can lose yourself in the process. So I try not to get too abstract. I just try to consistently keep myself into a position to where I'm just focusing constantly on the next step. I don't try to think too abstract about what's much farther down the road. I just think about what's in front of me right now, what I need to do to achieve, and keep continuing to create success in this, and keep building these little things out. But I'm not, I'm not worried about, like, I talk to a lot of people that are like, oh, I want to be a billionaire. I'm like, how about we focus on making $1 million first?
Right.
Then you can scale up. But like, I think you can lose yourself in the abstract thought, because I used to be that guy that used to have abstract thoughts, and that seemed to distract me in a lot of ways towards going after the things that were important right now to get done. Right. Mm-hmm. It's like, it doesn't make you small-minded to think, how can I make $100,000 this year? Mm-mm. Right? That's not small-minded. If you haven't made that yet, then focus on that, so that
Absolutely.
you can focus on creating and breaking down those tasks of how to really build to that point. And then when you build to that point, you think about, okay, I need to do this. How much money do I need to? Like, this is how my brain works. I'm telling all you guys basically how my brain really breaks down my whole process inside of everything that I do right now. I think about, what do I want in front of me right now? What is my future? What do I really want? Like, what is something that I'm looking for right now to acquire? Okay, how much money do I need to get us to, or to do, or to create to get us to that point? So then I create the next steps, and then I solution that, right? I create the solutions and the processes of how I'm going to get to that level. And then once I get to that level, then I think about the next step, and then what I need to do to get there, and then I create a solution for that. And then as I'm doing that, my income has just went up. But I don't ever think about my income. Like, I don't ever think about how much money I'm making now compared to what I used to be making. I don't ever think about that. Because to me, I'm always not making enough. Because my vision to where I want to be is so much higher. I don't ever really think about, like, where I'm at right now. Like, because if I was in the wrong position, I could potentially get to a point where I just get too comfortable, and then I don't want to have to make any more money. So I don't ever try to think about how much money I'm making now compared to how much money I used to have, because it's not important. It's like, where do I need to be? How much money do I need to get to that point, to get to this level, to access this thing, to do this next step? Okay, then I break that down, create that solution, and prioritize those tasks. But I don't ever think about, like, oh, I want to get to this number. I want to be worth this number. I don't care how much money I'm worth, how much money I get to in the future. It's just like, what's in front of me right now? How do I strategize and solution that? And then I optimize my day, and I optimize my priorities around those things to go after what I'm after right now. And then the next step keeps continuing. That keeps scaling and going up constantly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like that, Dan. And I think when it comes to scalability, or just scaling in general, one thing that we've had to do over the last, like, 6 to 9 months in particular is, there's many ways to run your business, right? So my partner, he used to run his business where he'd dabble in a few wholesales here, maybe 1 or 2 a year, and then he'd do some flips in here, and then he'd do maybe a new build in here, but he did it all under the same entity. And as you scale and grow, part of what changes is how you segment your businesses, because we're still doing flips, construction, and wholesales, but to the magnitude in which we're doing it, where it creates a difference in how you operate is that now we have 3 separate entities that we do wholesales in one, flips in one, construction in one, and then we have a 4th entity that holds all of our acquisitions, all of our rentals. So when you scale, you have to segment for the most part, to spread out your liability, spread out what's going on in each business. And that changes the way that you do business. There's plenty of business owners out there that kind of do it all under one LLC. Well, if you're doing sub $1 million a year, probably not Is it risky? Sure. Is it that risky? No, not really. But if you're doing $10 million a year, well, now you kind of got to go back in and resegment and really spread things out a little bit differently to reorganize, restructure. So as you grow, things will change. It's going to push you to grow, push you to change, push you to understand and think about your businesses differently. So it requires a lot of thought, I think, is what we keep coming back to, is you really got to take pause and consider what the impacts are, not monetarily, but to your life and to your business and how you operate when you go to grow and scale. Because one thing's for sure, and that's that things will change.
Quote, clip that, Jack. Clip that, Jack. One thing's for sure is that things will change.
Yeah, I think for me too, I always try to look at everything, and I'm like, how do I like look at where we're at? Because sometimes it's not always about growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's about can we squeeze more out of the lemon?
Yep.
Before we cut open another lemon.
Yep.
Right? Is there any more juice that we can squeeze out of this one before we move on to the next one? Like, do I just need to change the way that I'm squeezing it out? Like, do I need to maybe get one of those things that you make the lemonade with? That, you know what I mean? Like, do I need to optimize a tool the way that I'm getting the juice out of the squeeze? You know what I mean? Like, what can we do to optimize, maybe create some efficiency changes before we try to add more to the process? Because sometimes adding more to the process doesn't always equal more money. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. They think adding more to the process equals more money. Oh, I add more employees, that equals more money. Well, not always. You know, let's see first, can we make our sales process better? Can we make our distribution process better? Can we organize our system to make it more efficient first? Right? And then see if we can get a little bit more out of just changing some minor things. If we can easily get some more income out of that first, before we go, I want to add a VA. I want to add cold callers. I know people haven't made $10 in wholesaling yet, and they want to add a VA into their business. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you think that's going to change. Like, you haven't even made $100. How do you think adding an employee into your system is going to make you get to a point where you're going to be doing $100,000 a year? You can't even reason that. So the first thing you want to do is look at everything and say, you know, maybe I need to see and shift my perspective and think, is there things that I'm doing wrong that I can do better first? Then I will go into a level to now where I can get, you know, I can start adding more to it. But every time you add, it takes away efficiency. So you have to add, then you efficiently departmentalize the additions before you can really create more efficiency out of adding to your company. But that's next level. That's next level talk. I guess I don't think these guys are ready for that talk. I don't think these guys I don't think they're ready for this conversation.
I want to optimize. I want to grow.
There you go.
Good, Matt.
Let's go. Let's grow.
You told me you're gonna write me
grow.
an IO. You told me you're gonna write me an IOU for our phone call. Driving around here in your Batmobile, driving around here in your Batmobile, flexing your glass gear shift.
I got an IOU napkin in my pocket right now with your name on it. All right.
Design me a new logo on that napkin. Maybe we'll talk about change.
I got a stick figure logo and an IOU for you.
Perfect. You know, the Gold's Gym logo was designed on a napkin at a diner. People who
see, and look how successful they are. We could be that successful. You could make me that successful.
We'll talk. We'll get lunch.
Matt's over here acting like he's on a struggle bus or something. Help make me successful. This man's been crushing it.
It's funny
for the poor.
Dan, what was that? What was that one-liner you messaged me when I told you about the IOU?
I said don't start acting like one. I said don't start being one of those rich people that acts broke.
Yeah. Right as Andrew said that, I was like, "Oh, Dan said the same thing to me."
Nah, I got all those friends, all my friends. Oh man, it must be nice. I'm like, you acting like you're not rich. Get the fuck out of here.
Some people get it
Yeah.
and they really like to hold it. That's for sure.
And I think
Matt's getting out of his BMW to panhandle on the side of the interstate so he can make a couple bucks to make his mortgage payment.
dude, I gotta go jump in with the movers. I'm trying to get paid hourly with these guys. See if I can get a paycheck out of this.
He's gonna call the manager and be like, I think you guys need to pay me.
Yeah, you know how many boxes of my own boxes I moved?
I'm sure, yeah, I believe it. You
I
think
need
you
a- I
pay
need-
for efficiency now? You think you pay moving companies so that you don't have to touch anything anymore?
Dude, these guys dropped off my
Come on.
car 2 days early too. I know that's
Dude, that's why
first
I
world.
hate buying
I know that's
furniture.
first world problems, but we
Is
were
this,
on our way
is this
here.
thing brand new, Matt?
This is everything we're complaining about.
Yeah, it's no.
Yeah.
But I already owned it and I had it already, and then I shipped it because I didn't want to drive it here.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't supposed to be here till today. And then while we were driving up on Wednesday, this truck driver calls and he's like, "I'll be there in 2 hours." And I was like, "You'll be where in 2 hours?" And he's like, "To drop your car off." And I was like, "No, we have an Airbnb for the next 2 days." So I didn't have a choice. They had to drop it off, and it was a wreck. But what I really wanted to jump in and say, sorry, I'm going way too fast in this neighborhood. Hi guys, thank you. Is I feel like the conversation that just took place too, there might be a portion of the community that hears those numbers and that type of talk, and they think, oh, well, that's not me right now. I'm just wholesaling. I'm just trying to get my first deal. But I think the more important part is to not just think of this, and be whatever you want it to be. If it's a side hustle for you and you have a 9 to 5 that you love, or whatever else you're doing, I think that's fantastic. And if this is just side money for you to supplement whatever you got going on, I think that's great. But if not, and you want this to be something bigger, I think these talks are super important, because these are the blueprint of what you should be looking for to the future. You want to make a business out of this. You want to create this into something. And these are the talks that take place when you've actually created something or you're in the process of it. So you're not just wholesaling from one deal to another, and there's no real structure. There's no real business. You still have a job at that point. So these are important talks, even if you think that these numbers are well far outside of your current realm of where you are in your current business.
Yep. I think if anything, again, to Matt's point, not everybody's on the same page at this exact moment. Nobody ever is on the same page at this exact moment. Dan, myself, Matt, John, Bob, everybody in the audience, we all have completely different goals for ourselves, and methods to go achieve those goals. However, to Matt's point, this is a blueprint. Dan's given a blueprint. I'm given a blueprint. Matt's given a blueprint. We've all given out some sort of blueprint. And what I want you to walk away with is, instead of going and being discouraged potentially that you're not there, look at it as it's proven that it's possible. It's proven that it can be done. You're not just looking at one person here who has found success to some level of scale in real estate or other businesses, but you have multiple people here that have found success in their businesses and can achieve these types of numbers and this type of growth. Look at it like it's possible, because I'm telling you, I might be kind of smart, but I'm not the smartest guy in the world. None of us up here are the smartest guy in the world. We just have a deep level of commitment to achieving our goals.
Oh my goodness. Is that the Batmobile pulling up? Is this Mr. Matt Riley pulling up
I
to
think
a
I just cut my
castle?
hand on an aluminum can.
Are you serious?
I don't know. No, I'm good. I was fucking around, making mistakes, being childish.
Wow, look at this. Matt Riley here.
Oh wow, Matt Riley.
Beautiful estates. Which one is
Dude,
Justin's
that looks
house?
like. Yeah. Introduce us to your new friends, Matt.
He was driving too fast in the other neighborhood. He had to slow it down. Sheesh. Oh my gosh. You're muted, by the way, Matt. We can't hear you. Ah, there he is. He's got his shades on. He's got the Ray-Bans. Look at him. He was born to live there. You know that? He was born to live
He was born to live there.
Living the high life, man. It must be nice.
My guy, must be nice. I can't. I'm the. I can't believe that a broke guy like me move in. They'll find out soon enough. They'll be doing food drives at my house,
God,
delivering me
no, dude, I'm
delivering
gonna
me
fucking
turkeys on
strangle.
Thanksgiving.
I'm gonna strangle this motherfucker.
This fucking dude.
Wow. So this is Tennessee. This is Franklin.
Come on down, y'all. Come on down.
That doesn't actually even look like Franklin. That looks like back where I'm from. That looks like Charleston. That looks like my parents' neighborhood. Like no.
They got
joke.
some
That
Charleston
literally looks
vibes here, like this house right, like this double decker
Yeah.
right here. They got a lot of Charleston vibe down here. A lot of Key West too, kind of.
Yeah, I'm not from that Charleston. I'm from the other Charleston. But that Charleston's nice.
Well, you're like
South Carolina's nice. I'm from
What's-
Charleston, West Virginia. I'm from the I'm from like the
oh,
I'm from the I'm
the
from
other
the I'm from the other Charleston.
the other
Charleston. The other Charleston.
Well, I'm from the we got Charleston at home, Charleston. You like when your mommy say, "Oh, we don't need McDonald's. We have McDonald's at home."
That's
I'm
right.
from the we have Charleston at home. That's the Charleston that I'm from.
That's fucking funny.
I do want to also address, the people that are in the room that are, still trying to get started within their wholesale business, or maybe they have done a couple deals and they're looking to scale, but are maybe intimidated by the numbers that we're talking about up here on stage. I'm not in a position where I'm consistently doing 6 figures a month yet, but that's definitely my goal. And being in proximity with people, especially on this panel, that are doing multiple 6 figures in a month, has really been a huge inspiration to me, because I know it's possible. I'm in proximity. I talk to people that are doing it, so it is possible, and there are things that these people can teach me that I can implement in my own business that can help me get to where I want to go. And that's another thing that I really, really do appreciate about the time that we spend up here, and just even the community, and being a part of an atmosphere like this, is like we have these conversations on a daily basis where we're talking about these types of concepts, these types of numbers, these types of business plans and blueprints. And it's something that I really just can't take for granted, because especially, being somebody that's traveled around and talked to a lot of different types of people, I can confidently assure you the types of stuff that we discuss in these channels are not normal everyday conversations. You are not privy to these types of conversations on the street. The majority of people are really concerned whether or not Domino's has a discount on garlic knots. And to be in proximity with you all, I do really appreciate it, because it makes it real. It makes it real for me that not only do I see this vision for myself and it's a desire that I want to fulfill, but I have real examples of people that are actively doing it and continue to do it each and every single day. So I just got to extend my appreciation for you all, because truly, I don't get jealous by it. I'm very inspired, and I know that it's possible only because of you guys, really being in proximity with me.
Sure. And I'll add to that, John, which is, before I did a single wholesale deal, we already had a multiple 7-figure a year business. Now, even with that being said, and even with that business having a solely real estate focus, I still was not wholesale. But what kind of got me into wholesaling is, of course, I knew it was possible. Of course, I knew it was real. It wasn't quite like that, but it was seeing people like Matt, Bob, John, and all the others that post gains and talk about their successes in wholesale in this Discord.
And you looked at
Again,
it,
this
if Matt Riley can do this.
Yeah, I was like, if this motherfucker can do it, I'm fucking doing it. Yeah, exactly. It made it real. I mean, it made it real. Like, these are real checks. And man, I'll tell you, the second we got that first real check, I think it was like 56 grand or something for our first wholesale. I was like, holy crap. Like, this isn't just real. This is really real.
Yeah.
I knew 5 grand wholesales existed. I knew 10 grand wholesales existed. And of course, I knew 100 grand plus wholesales existed. But to see it right in front of my face and have a 50K plus wholesale as our first wholesale deal that we completed, yeah, man, that really set the bar. Not to expect every deal to be that level, but to go, maybe instead of chasing 5 to 10K wholesales, even maybe we just do 5 or 6 of something like these types of wholesale a month.
Yes.
Maybe that's where we start because they're out there. You know, the key is, I think where some people go wrong, and I understand if it's marketing dollars and things of that nature that inhibit you from certain types of market growth exposure in different areas. I get that. But understand that if you think about it, they're in the whole country. I look at it like this. It's a puzzle. It's a challenge. Because I look at it in this whole country, right? Outside of wholesale regulated areas, which I'm not interested in getting into at this point. But we look at all the potential leads that exist for what would make not only a layup wholesale, but a very profitable wholesale, a six-figure wholesale. There are 10,000 leads in this country right now, minimum, that match those exact criteria. So the puzzle for us is, how do we take all this data, all of our processes, all of our systems, and take a national approach at some point to data and analytics to refine getting those exact matches into our system so we're hitting more than we're missing. It's a puzzle, guys. Like I think that's kind of like how I push my business forward. That's my thought process. It's a challenge. How do I figure out? Because I know it's out there. I know in the grand scheme, if there's 1 million leads in the States right now, for example, I know that of those 1 million, there's 10,000 of them that are the perfect lead. How do I find them?
I love that you compared this business model to a puzzle. And the reason I like that so much is because you can complete a puzzle. It's attainable.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually make the picture. And so if you can get the pieces together and you can figure out how these pieces fit together to make that picture you're looking to create, that's really, you know, the beauty of the business, because it's certain.
Yes. Exactly. It's definitely certain that there are 10,000 leads in the States right now that are absolute bangers and absolute layups. It's certain, because if it can be, it will be. It's out there. So you're right, John. It's a concrete fact that it's out there. Now the numbers might be slight. It might not be 10,000. It might be 100,000, or it might be 1,000. But the bottom line is, I'm trying to find that number and determine that number, which may never actually be completely determinable. But on the journey to get there, you will solve that puzzle.
What I've learned in wholesaling is you're going to have somewhere around of 50 to 100K plus or minus deviation. And then as you scale into like larger amounts, you're going to have larger amounts of deviation. It's just not a business model that, because there's no consistent channel. Like there's no consistent product, because it's all variable on so many different things that can't be controlled. So it's like, for instance, like, you know, there's no reoccurring payment model. And that's the thing that I don't like about real estate wholesaling. That's the one thing that I don't like. So when you look at, for instance, when you look at our telemedicine clinic, we have a reoccurring payment model. We have people that are set up on subscription, and once they start with us, they really can't just stop. There's a process to, even then, if they wanted to kind of, you know, leave the process and get off the train, there's a whole process to that. But we have a model that we can consistently scale up, but there's a certain amount of money that we know we're going to do almost every single month. We really have no variance of deviation. So, but in wholesaling, you're going to have, you know, in the very beginning, you're going to have months where you actually do $0, and then you'll have months where you do $20,000 or $30,000, and you'll have months where you do $50,000 or $60,000. And once you kind of get past the 100,000, it'll kind of be in the 50 to 100 plus range. And then as you kind of go up past that, you'll get to a point where you'll see that deviation keeps getting a little bit larger each time in variance, just because there's no way to create a reoccurring payment model.
Right. Yep. Because it's all effort based. I mean, you have to be doing it to get it.
Yes. Yep.
Active.
It is. Yep.
So Dan, for somebody like me, you know, who's about to come up on a deal and have some money to throw into marketing, you know, at a larger scale than I would have been able to afford previously, can I use that money to create a predictable amount of revenue every month?
you can use it to create a predictable amount of lead flow, but never revenue, because a deal isn't. You can have a predictable model after six to 12 months, but that predictable model will never. You'll never do the same amount of money every single month in real estate wholesaling, because there's that each house is not worth a single assignment fee, unless you made it that way. But why would you do it that way?
I mean, you
Right?
could probably
Like,
set the standard, for a minimum of say like 10, 20K.
you could set a minimum, but you can't set a. But if something comes in that's under 5K, are you gonna say no?
I mean, it depends, because I have definitely said no, because I was looking at one novation. If it was a JV and it's about 5,000 or less than 5,000 on a JV, you got to ask yourself, what's the opportunity cost? Is me spending my time best allocated on this deal that's going to net me, $2,500, or should I go and I should try to find something else that could net me closer to six figures?
I guess when you're running your own business, yeah. I guess that makes sense, but I don't ever, I never let my guys turn anything down. Like, I don't care if it's $700.
Dan's putting them to work.
The only time I turn down a deal is if it's negative, if it's a chance for us to come in zero or lose money. If it becomes too much of an issue, then we might drop it, right? If it's got a whole bunch of shit going on,
Right.
but you're dealing with someone's life. It's like, just because I can't get a buyer to come in over 5,000, I'm gonna drop it on the seller. It's like, well, the seller, I might not be able to make more than 5,000, but the seller is gonna be walking away with, money that they need in their pocket. Bye, Andrew. We'll chat.
Take care.
Sounds good. See you guys.
Thank you.
The seller still has money that they need to be walking away with that's gonna be in their pocket. So, am I gonna say no to that? Then, I mean, that's his company policy for us. We don't turn anything away unless we're losing money. Do I want more lead flow or cash flow? I mean, lead flow means nothing. I mean, you can get shitty lead flow. So yeah, I always want cash flow over lead flow. I mean, that's not even on the same page. Somebody's asking about standard deviation. Did y'all learn this by closing deals? I don't know what that means. What would you do if you had to start over in wholesaling?
I would look for ugly houses, and I would drive for dollars. That's what got me my first deal. If I had no money, I would look for distressed properties, and then I would skip trace them. We give out all the resources that we talk about on the show for free. So you can go around, you can write down addresses on your notes app in your phone, or you can get the Deal Machine app. I don't have an affiliate for that, but it's a good app. It's one that has worked for me. And I would suggest finding distressed properties and taking note of all of those properties, and then skip tracing those properties with a website like People Looker, which